Then you can also be aware of what's going on in your heart. What am I feeling today? And you really begin to be sensitive. You can feel a lot of times the love is really full, emanating out from you, and everywhere you go, people are lifted up. Other days, you've had you're too skinny and all this or whatever, and there's a little heaviness there on your heart. What's going on in your heart? And then the next level, the most subtle level, is the observation of the mind, the thoughts. Which whatever you're holding in your mind is what's going to show up in your life. And you can't force it and manipulate it either, but what you can do is just cultivate the divine thoughts. Keep bringing your mind back to whatever you feel divinity is. I always bring it back to this thing that I call God, and it's just an infinite light. And in that place, everything's okay. And it always has been, and it always will be. And then that brings space around any kind of fear or discontent I'm feeling at that moment. And then it's like, okay, this fear is not really that big a deal. It's not going to kill me. And then it kind of dissolves. But if I were to fight the fear, and resist it and be like, I can't be afraid. I can't be afraid. I have to be courageous. But you're not. You're really afraid. Then you just build and build and build the fear. It's the same thing with all kinds of different eating habits and stuff like that. If you fight against your cheeseburger addiction, it's going to be less beneficial than if you just cultivate your healthy eating habits. And if you have a snapback and you go get a cheeseburger, because for whatever reason, because there's a lot of chemicals in there you're addicted to, you need to see that. You need to relapse in order to totally recover. And then you have, then you become, have a lot of sympathy for other people. So you're a cheeseburger addict and they're a heroin addict. What's the difference? Oh, heroin's illegal, cheeseburgers are legal. What's the difference? There's still a lot of drugs in those cheeseburgers, And so you're addicted, he's addicted. He's not addicted to cheeseburgers. He's addicted to heroin, But is there any difference? Except for some kind of like legal mental construct? No. So we're all addicted to something. And some people feel so socially superior because I don't do drugs or alcohol. But they're like, 500 pounds and strung out on food. And that's okay, because it's socially acceptable and legal, And so we need to really kind of wake up and realize that, just because you do everything that's legal, what's legal in this country is designed to make you overweight, sick, and dumb, That's how it's designed. Because when you're that way, then you're much more easy to control. And then they can funnel all that power. I think they always see us as little rats on a wheel, and then they plug in the wires and they put it on their battery. And we're these little rats on a wheel charging up their batteries, and they're like trillionaires, and they don't have enough. And they're narcissistic egomaniacs that want more power. They have more money than they could spend in 100 lifetimes. And it's not enough, and they still need to control you. Why? Because they have the same fear that you do. And so we have sympathy for them, that they feel that they need to control us. See, so everyone's mad about the New World Order. I'm not. I feel sorry for those suckers. So they have $1 billion and want to control me. Oh, that'd be disgusting. Imagine wanting to control other people. What a nightmare. Imagine having to even have that desire. How sick you must feel. Imagine how unfree you are. Wouldn't you like to be free? Wouldn't you just like to be free? To live your life, to love people, to love your life, to love the wind, to love the sun, to love grapes. Simple little stuff that brings so much joy. And all the money in the world will never buy that stuff. That's why when people are tripping on me about money, come on, man. You must be high. How much money is it going to take for me to find the freedom in my heart? To be at peace with myself, so that I can be happy with $1 million or not a penny to my name. And what's the difference? It's nice. Hey man, I'll tell you, it's nice to have a couple of legs, a couple of arms that work. That's a real big blessing. But if you didn't have those, you could still find a way. Because even if you lost both your legs and both your arms, you'd still be you, wouldn't you? So what really are you? You're the awareness. You're the consciousness. You are the light of life. And that's what we're trying to get to. That's what this society needs. That's what religion is for. It's just that religion is just for people at a certain level. Everyone vibrates at a certain level. So this group of people goes to this level of religious consciousness. This group of people goes to this level of religious consciousness. And then eventually we study all the religions and we realize, oh, there's only one holy light of truth, and you can't box it in. And you can't put it in a book, and you can't own it, and you can't prove to others how right you are about your religious beliefs, because everybody already is that. We already all are God. This wall is God, you're God, this table's God, this is God. That what's in here, in the cup, okay, the orange juice is God, okay? The cup is God, and the space around the cup is God, okay? Some people say, nope, only the orange juice is God, and here's the rule book, you know? And that's just not, that's just only at a certain level of consciousness. And the religion that they believe in keeps them in integrity. And their brothers and sisters at their church keep them in integrity so they don't go back to the crack or back to the prostituting or whatever it is. So they need that. So I don't ever put nobody's religion down, because it's holding them in that space, which keeps them from going backwards, you know, backwards into the stuff that the only reason we find religion is to get off the drugs, to find the faith, to believe in something more, because this life seems so dry sometimes, you know. So that's why we get high, because we're just trying to find a little bit of joy. So I don't get down on anybody. I learned after I got sober why I got high was because this life sucks. The way we do it, get up, go to school, get programmed with a bunch of mediocrity, go get a job doing something you don't really care for, to get a bunch of stuff you don't really want. And that's how we roll. And then you see a dude out there cruising on his bike, free as a bird, you know? And it makes some people mad. You can be like me too, but you gotta have a lot of courage. Because I went without for years, and now I'm trying to make up for that, because I have 2 daughters, and I have, you know, substantial child support debt, and I'm getting it caught up. So if people are tripping on me working, you know, I just have a couple of fingers in the middle of my hands that can, you know what I'm saying? Take this. Because I want to do what's right, and I wasn't going to lose my freedom. Now I'm still free, and I'm able to pay my bills. Before, I wasn't able to pay my bills and keep my freedom. Working at some McDonald's for a month, worked at Ernst Hardware. I even cleaned windows for like 15 years. And I was never happy. I kept going back to get high, so I could get high and just clean windows. It's all good. Put them on movie. I'd be like, yo, you owe me $425. I'd be like, thanks, Dan. You know, there'd always be these housewives. And I had good vibes back then too. I've always had good vibes, because since I was 4 years old, I had Jesus. I didn't know that because did anybody hear this story before? On the bus? This is a cool little story. This is my life changing. When I was 4 years old, I went to this little bus in front of my preschool, and there was Ernie and Bert talking about the light of Jesus on this bus, this little Christian traveling bus. And I went right up to Ernie and Bert, and I was like 4 years old. I remember this is my first conscious memory. I said, I want that. And they were like, okay, we'll just wait till the end of the program and we'll pray for you. I was like, no, I want that now. So Ernie and Bert were tripping, the puppeteers. I remember this so clear. They were back there, and they were like, they never had this happen before, you know, because it resonated with me, the light of Jesus. I was 4 years old. I was like, dude, that's what I need. So they were like, Ernie and Bert, dear Jesus, please come into this little boy, hook him up with the light of life. And I walked off that bus, bam, here I am today. Protected, safe through years of things that would have killed a herd of elephants. I mean, I had access to everything for free, as much as I wanted. And I spent years trying to leave consciousness. I tried to become unaware, unconscious. All those drugs that I did, I never once lost consciousness. I never achieved what I wanted, was to get out of my problems. All I was now was high as hell, and the problems were still there. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't have some fun. Saw some crazy stuff. Whoa, man, like this cat, this log that I thought was a cat. I'll never forget that. I was petting it. My friend was like, "That's a log, fool," and he kicked it. And I said, "Don't kick the cat." I mean, it was a big cat. So, you know, little things like that. But so I had some fun, but I never achieved what I wanted, and now I'm going for it for real. And food was just one of the last, you know, things. The control of the palate. You know, the celibacy, that's pretty easy. Really. You can go for a long time without sex, you're fine. There's so many things that are easy to go without, but you try to start controlling that tongue. Anybody here can dig it? Like when you really start trying to watch what you put into your mouth, how powerful that is. You know? I mean, I've been working on it for years. I'm just, you know, yesterday I was, because I'm really trying to clean it up on this ride and do my best. And so I've been really trying to avoid salt and just getting enough fat, a lot of carbs, and just some nice protein from hemp seeds without too much salt, and just really clean. Clean is what I want. And yesterday I was salt tripping. My mind starts tripping. I made it yesterday with no salt, because you got to just go in there and you see the cravings for what they are, and you go into them and you allow them to be there, and you know, you can get over it then. And as soon as you get over it, you get a lot more confidence for the next time. But the tongue is the most hard thing to control. So when you're on the path to the enlightenment, that is one of the greatest opportunities to rise above your senses, because it's the senses that really want the sensations on this planet. You know, it wants to experience. We're all addicted to experiencing experiences, and so, but the spirit doesn't need that, but the ego does need that. The ego needs to experience experiences, and hopefully fun stuff. And you know, so that's okay. We accept that, and we allow the ego to do its job. You know, which is to have senses and have us do its thing and seek out pleasure. And yet, on the spiritual side of ourselves, we don't want to go too far to one side or the other and remain balanced. Yes, we have a balanced sex life. We have a balanced food life. We have a balanced social life. We have a balanced spiritual life. And we don't need extremes, because that'll take us out, because that's the dualistic world. You know, one extreme or the other. And the middle path is the middle path. But sometimes we need to go to great extremes in order to balance out from some other great extreme. So the people in your life will be like, "I just don't understand you," but you know your heart is telling you what to do. You don't have to be a raw vegan the rest of your life. It's not the one holy answer that ever was. But you might have been like a bodybuilder and ate every protein powder and did a lot of drugs. Now you need to come over to this side of the raw vegan and eat fruit and drink green juice and do some fasting to pay for your sins, which was to miss the mark. You got off the middle, and by some way or another you went way the hell over here or way the hell over here, and now you need to go over here for a while to bring you back to true balance. And you'll always be going, but pretty soon you'll be able to ride and walk what I call the razor's edge, and you'll just stay right there. And there'll be the haters over here and the lovers over here, and you just pray to the Most High to do your job, to do your duty, to give your service. It's about service to everyone else. You have talents that I don't have. I need you to do what you do every day, to be yourself and to give your gift, so that the machinery is perfect. So we should never put anybody down, because nobody knows what God's got somebody else doing. If you've got a problem with somebody, you need to go directly to God and say, "God, I have a real problem with this a-hole, because he's not living the way I think he should." And God says, "Don't worry about it. I got it covered. You do you." You know? You do you. Like, I don't worry about what anybody's doing. I have, like I said, 30 lifetimes of work left. What am I looking at you for? You know, what your sex habits are, what your food habits are. When I should be having my eye turned inward and looking at what I can do, because when I heal myself and become whole, then I heal you at the same time. And everybody lifts up. It's the ocean of consciousness, the ocean of humanity. So when we improve ourselves, whether it's through diet, meditation, fasting, love, education, inspiration, we are lifting up the world. But by attacking others and making how wrong they are for eating meat, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to answer, but who here eats meat? Okay, now, should I hate you and blame you for ruining the world? Come on, man. Okay. That's not my thing. Everyone's got all the answers, but that's only their, you know, opinion, their viewpoint at this time. There's nothing to fix. There's only allowing that which is already there to fully manifest in your experience. And you're not going to get that by fixing other people out there who are ruining the planet. You know what I mean? If you want to save the planet, save yourself. Because when I was a Jehovah's Witness, it came to me one time and they used to say, the kingdom of the paradise on earth. When you die and you're a Jehovah's Witness, you get to come back to paradise on earth. Does anybody know about that? Okay, I was a Jehovah's Witness for a long time. I was the greatest door-to-door dude in the whole world. I could turn anybody. I'm just like I was now, but back then. But what that means to me is that when the old self dies, when the ego dies, then you see the paradise. The sun's already shining. What do you want? You know what I mean? The wind is blowing through the trees and the fruit is still hanging from the trees. I mean, there's enough food here. There's food, there's water, there's a place to take a poop, I mean a toilet. Aren't you thankful for that? Showers, air conditioning. Look at all the wonderful things of paradise. Imagine if we lived in paradise and there was no air conditioning today. We'd all be sweating like pigs. And I know pigs don't have pores, so they don't sweat. That's the nature of the joke. When I say I'm sweating like a pig, and there's some comments, pigs don't sweat. I know, but if they were here, they would be, because it's hotter than hell. I got a question for you guys. Can you dig it? You guys are, man, I love, this is the best part of my job right here. I have this big dream, flights of fancy of just auditoriums full of people. This information is, you know, you don't get to share this with everybody. I don't get to share this with too many people at all. This is pretty high level stuff. This isn't like, you know, whatever, the, you know, textbook knowledge. This is like this is a knowledge that's been impregnated into me from thousands of spiritual books. And did you know that they all are saying the same thing? So one guy's Chinese and one guy's from India. Another dude's a white dude and another dude's a black dude. But you know what? They're all saying the same thing. It might be in a different language. It's just, but it's all, there's only one truth, you know? And we should just relax into that and just allow it. Because it's gonna, like, if you're like me, I mean, I'm obsessed with it. Like, it is pulling on my heart every day so powerfully. It's weird to want to be the best for that light that I can be, you know, with my diet, which is pretty huge. Because I was telling these guys, a couple people that were here from the beginning, is that yesterday I got a massage and this girl was like, you know, she was like, dude, I am high from massaging you, you know. That's what you want. You want your energy from the food you eat, the love you feel, and the thoughts you think to be so expansive that when someone massages you or just gets in your presence, you lift. You don't have to say anything, do anything, prove anything. You don't have to use fancy words. I'm good at that, but you just be those good thoughts, those higher levels of consciousness. You just be those qualities, like love, like truthfulness, self-honesty, awareness, kindness, gentleness, patience, all those qualities. You just be that, and then wherever you go, you lift everybody up. I mean, I've been across this whole country, and I've been able to just watch people go from having a crappy day. I just walk up, smile, zoom, they're all good. That's what you got when you got the light. I ain't no walking on water dude, but I got a pretty good heart. I know my intentions. And I don't want to hurt the person I'm standing in front of. I don't want to take anything from them, but I sure would like to see that light that I love so much, that I worship every day and try to tap